Don't let anyone block your view of this show, as this one's a knockout. Push everything aside and turn up that music, because Red is in the house and he's ready to rumble. Let's put this one in the net. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. And Joe, welcome back to the airwave. We missed you on Friday night. You were up in Silver Bay with the young men in that hockey tournament.
I was, and I was happy to have you there and giving me updates and not too surprising results in that one.
No, we'll talk about that one later, but definitely not too surprising.
No, and this week, very exciting what's going on with
be a lot of fun.
The wrestling team, and we will be there. We're actually going to be there 3 Fridays in a row with the wrestling team, because we have the Anoka match this week, and then Foley next week, who is a very good, highly ranked non-con team that's going to help prepare them for the postseason. Certainly, as we always talk about Section 7, like a mini state tournament. So you want to get some tough opponents in to really get you ready for what you'll face in sections. But we'll start with the hockey team. Just 3 weeks left in the regular season for the boys hockey team, and they're looking for some positives to build on before the playoffs. Last week, Cardinals facing one of the top teams in their division, but a team they felt they could compete with and even beat. Osseo is just a half game out of first place in the East and came in with just 1 loss in their previous 9 games. They would certainly be a handful for the Cardinals. As they have done better in the past few weeks, Cardinals come out strong, set the tempo early. End of a power play in the first. Jake Kellner with a feed to Brett Johnson out front. He finds a 5-hole. That puts his team on the board first, just 6 minutes into the game. Osseo looking for the equalizer late in the first, and they pick up the physical play. That creates a turnover that leads to a great chance out front, but Zach St. John spreads out, kicks it into the corner. Still 1-0 Cardinals after 1. Orioles bringing the pressure midway through the second. St. John staying strong, but the pressure eventually pays off. Shot from the point is tipped out front, sneaks past to even the game at a goal apiece. Hardly a chance to breathe, and Osseo strikes again and again. They have to get multiple chances before beating the Coon Rapids keeper. The Orioles stick with it, and again it's Anthony Fetzik getting a deflection out front to get the goal. Fetzik with 2 goals in just 18 seconds, and Osseo has a 2-1 lead. Orioles get some insurance on a power play early in the third. St. John makes the initial save and thinks he has it covered, but it slips out. Makes the save, thought he had it covered, but it slips out. Fetzik pokes it home. His 3rd goal, a natural hat trick, and that's all his team needs. Osseo wins 3-1.
Yeah, you know, it's been a tough year, obviously, for the boys hockey team, and you think about the quality of the goaltender. They're losing games, obviously, but you would see the score differently if it weren't for Zach St. John in the net, I believe, because he is so strong in there. And you know, it's been tough getting a lot of shots on goal against him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think St. John has had his ups and downs this season as well, just like everybody in a Cardinal uniform, everybody that goes in and out of that boys' locker room. But he has been a key figure as they have been outshot considerably in many of their contests, and he has done what he could to keep them in games. And the next one we'll talk about is a great example of that. Yeah, the Cardinals lose 6-0 against Elk River on Saturday, but look at the shots on goal, 49-9.
Ouch.
Zach St. John makes 43 saves. You can't ask a goaltender to make many more than that in one contest, and especially when it gets frustrating for the keeper as they see that much pressure and they don't see their offense doing anything, not getting them one back after they give one up. It's tough and it's grinding, and I know this team, and again, Elk River, an incredibly strong team. And down the rest of the rest of the season, the Cardinals have to pick and choose those games that, they got to look at it realistically and say, these are teams we can beat. There's still some teams on the
schedule.
The schedule. Yeah. That's what
I knew what you were looking for.
Not necessarily that are unbeatable, or that the Cardinals have no chance, but games that the Cardinals will be huge underdogs. But they do also have some games that they have a legitimate chance on. And 2 of those are coming up this week. They're at Armstrong on Thursday, and despite losing to the Wings the first time around, they played them pretty well. If they can neutralize that first line, they have a chance against the Armstrong Cooper Wings. And then they host Irondale on Saturday. Cardinals did win the first contest against the Knights, looking for a season sweep on Saturday.
Yeah, I know you're around the program, obviously more than I am because you're with the youngsters up at the rink, but I know we haven't talked to I haven't talked to Coach Mo. You run into him occasionally, but I know he's talked about all year. Shots on goal is so important, and it's got to be frustrating for him to see 9 shots on goal in the entire game.
Well, and
granted, it's Elk River, but
it's been a roller coaster ride, and you have to take the goods with the bad, especially when you're a first-year coach coming in on a program that's really had a difficult time getting going over the last few seasons, and I think he's kind of reminded himself of that. I know he says he talks to his father, and his father kind of talks him down off the wall and says, you can't change everything in one season. Pick your battles, do what you can. You're improving. The team is definitely better now than they were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's where you have to look for your success.
Okay, we'll talk about the girls. You want to talk about the girls hockey squad next?
Well,
there's just 1 week left in the regular season for that girls hockey team, and they need to get things turned back around. Their winless streak has now reached 5 games, the longest stretch of the season, but it certainly hasn't been the lack of effort. Last week, the Cardinals traveled to Centennial to take on one of the top teams in the conference. The Cougars had 11 wins in the Northwest Suburban and were riding a 4-game win streak. They had more than a little momentum, plus home ice on their side. This is a tight game in the first with both teams getting chances, but the Cougars capitalized late in the period. A turnover, they get up the ice in a hurry, and Gabby Hughes shelves it over the glove of Brittany Buell, as you saw there, to make it 1-0 Centennial after 1. Fortunately for the Cards, one bounce deserves another earlier in the second. Great long cross pass down the ice to spring Brina Del Castillo down the left wing. She leaves it for Stahlberger. Not a lot on the shot, but the rebound is tipped right to Lily Hackett, who you saw poking it in. It stays that way until under 3 minutes left in the period. Centennial on the power play. Great pass through traffic to Hughes. She comes back through the slot and once again goes high to find the net. Her second of the game gives her team 2-1 edge. And the Cougars would pounce again right before the period was out. Turnover in the blue line. Maya Almer takes it down, plays it out front. Buell makes a couple of saves, but Centennial's Claire Riley finally pokes it home. It wasn't pretty, but they have a 3-1 lead as they go into the third. Coon Rapids power play early in the final frame pays off. Lots of traffic in front. The initial shot is stopped, but the rebound right on Del Castillo's stick. He fires to the back of the net, and the Cardinals are back within a goal. Plenty of time remaining. The Cardinals would have their chances, but they come up empty 2-on-1, but Bailey Ryan is stymied point blank. The Cards can't get to the rebound. They outshot the Cougars in the third. They fall short, losing by a score of 3-2.
And I did talk to Coach Christofferson after that game on Wednesday, and she said, they did not. She felt they did not play very well at all, and still came close against one of the top teams in the conference. They were grossly outshot in that second period, and let that, they fall behind 3-1, but they made a valiant effort in the third. They get the early power play goal to make it a 1-goal game. They get their opportunities late to get the tie, but they come up short. She said, we didn't play well, but we still came close against a really good team. And she'll take that. But, the frustration, I texted back and forth with her. Again, I was in Silver Bay on Saturday, but I was texting back and forth with her after the game on Saturday, a game they lost to Elk River 6-2. And Elk River, in boys and girls, very, very strong teams. That's actually backwards. Coon Rapids lost that one 6-2. That's my fault. My fault. I typed it that way. My bad. I guess I was just it was wishful thinking.
Absolutely.
The Cardinals, it seemed that she was a little better off. She didn't want to dwell on the loss. Look at the last 2 opponents on the schedule. You've got and again on the road, five road games to finish the season is a tough
way to do it. Absolutely.
But they're at Champlin on Tuesday. They're at Anoka on Saturday. Those are 2 teams that they really feel they should beat, and they definitely are looking for some revenge against Anoka, a team that beat them in overtime in a game that the Cardinals felt they clearly controlled. So they'd like to get a couple of wins and head into the playoffs on a bit of a hot streak.
Yeah, they're actually at home tomorrow, not at Champlin. But I spoke with Coach Christofferson as well, and these are 2 important games to end the season because it really plays into the seeding. It feels if they have an opportunity to win these 2, there's a good possibility they'll be the number 4. So they figure somewhere between 4, 5, and 6, depending how the week ends up. But it's an opportunity for them to get off that little bit of a downward spin and go into it with a winning streak into the sections.
Well, this is a huge week, as we talked about earlier, for the wrestling team, with a battle with the Anoka Tornadoes coming up on Friday that will most likely determine the Northwest Suburban champion. Last week, the Cardinals continued to assert their dominance over another lesser conference opponent. Champlain Park Rebels have a respectable program, but they are just no match for the mighty Cardinals. And the meet served as little more than a warm-up for this week's title bout. Cardinals gave some younger guys a chance to prove themselves against the Rebels, and 8th grader Matt McLean makes the most of his opportunity. He gets a pin at 120 in just 46 seconds. Coon Rapids already a healthy lead after just the first few matches. Fast forward to 132. Early in the second period, Jared Volkowski gets his man in the cradle, and from there it is just a matter of time. And he is going to put this baby to bed at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Joey Bothwell will get his team at some more bonus points at 152. He just overpowers Rogues, flips him to his back, and goes chest to chest with him. He gets a slap on the mat in exactly 3 minutes. Up next is Captain Keanu Baker at 160, and his athleticism is impressive. Just so quick to throw the headlock on and put his man to the mat. Squeezes tight and slides his hip out. Gets the pin just 26 seconds into the second period. Fellow captain Michael Bothwell dominating his man in the second period at 182. He gets control of the head and rolls him over onto his shoulders. Ricks for the Rebels struggles and fights as long as he can, but in the end, he will be another pin victim. Bothwell gets his arm raised in 3 minutes, 37 seconds. The Cardinals absolutely destroy the Rebels, running away with a 56-16 victory.
Yeah, I think it was probably one of the quickest matches that certainly I've been at. I think when I texted you, it was about an hour and 15 minutes, and your text is done already?
Yeah.
Yeah, your text back to me. Yeah, and it was quick, and they should have been dominant, and they were. And even the fact that they got some younger guys to wrestle,
yeah, I think
that hadn't had junior varsity or much junior varsity or varsity experience, was really beneficial to the program.
I think I received your text before I had even made it to Silver Bay, and that goes to show you I do even when I'm not working, I'm really kind of working, because I was texting back and forth with you on Friday night, with Coach Christofferson on Saturday. While we were having our team get-together Saturday evening, I was on the computer
You are the
putting
man,
show together.
Joe Yund. Joe Yund is the man.
Wrestling, as we talked about, at Anoka on Friday. The Tornadoes also undefeated in the Northwest Suburban Conference, and it will be a battle of top 10 teams. And the winner of the Golden Shoes this season will most likely also then hoist. Well, I think it's inevitable now. I think that's the last match.
Well, get there early,
season,
definitely.
So.
It's gonna be.
It will be.
It's
It will be
wild.
a packed house, and Anoka fans are ravenous, but so are Cardinal fans. So it'll be a fun one. And then the Cardinals are at the Bengals Invitational on Saturday, and then they host, as we talked about, Foley next Friday. We'll be there as well. A lot of action in Cambridge this weekend. 2 programs taking part in Blue Jacket Invitational tournaments.
Yeah, nice little drive to Cambridge.
Both the gymnastics squad and the swimming and diving teams in Blue Jackets Invitationals on Saturday. Apparently it was tournament time in Cambridge last weekend, and the Cardinals were on board. For the gymnastics team, it's just an all-around tournament. No places given for each individual event. No scores given for the teams. It's just overall, all-around scores, and there are your finishers. Kennedy Koval is the top finisher for the Cardinals in 21st place. Look at the difference. 21st to 24th place, and the difference is a 1/10 of a point.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Hannah Gross actually had the top score for the Cardinals in 3 of the 4 events, but Koval's beam score as the #1 Cardinals place and staying close to Gross in the other 3 events gave her the better all-around score, but by all of a 1/10. 1/10 of a point. Becky Lammers was 37th with 31.0. Hurdle finished 48th. Olson was 63rd, and Anderson was 65th overall with a score of 26.15. They've got a couple of matches coming up this week. They're at Irondale on Wednesday and at Blaine on Saturday. Talked about the swimming and diving team also in Cambridge. Also with a busy week on the schedule this week for the Cardinal swimmers and divers. I got my weekly email from Coach Marcia Ford. She said, a little bit of a down week for us. Only 9 best times this week.
Oh, that's it?
So, after the last couple of weeks, they were getting 33, 35. So only 9, but she's still pretty happy with the way the guys are going out. and getting after it and continuing to cut their time. Cole Johnston was 5th place in the diving event with a 2:17.55. And 9th grader Alex Schmidt had a couple of the top swimming finishes for the Cardinals, finishing 5th in the 200 IM and 6th in the 500 free. Austin Frazier finished 7th in the 100 back. The 200 medley relay team was 9th place overall in a time of 2 minutes 0.09 seconds. Austin Frazier grabbed the 10th place finish in the 200 free. Tate Andrews 14th in the 100 fly, and Jonathan Kutsky was 15th in the 100 breast. And they are right back in Cambridge on Tuesday of this week for dual meet against the Blue Jackets.
It'll be their second home.
Yeah, right. And then I hope they like the pool up there. I don't know what it's like.
They must.
But they're at Chapel Park on Thursday. Nordic skiing Northwest Suburban Conference Championships happening already this week.
Yeah, and there's not much snow left on the ground.
Well, that's
obviously, yeah.
There'll be a Theodore Worth
Yeah.
where it's man-made snow.
It is.
The trails are groomed, but still, the snow conditions definitely not ideal.
No.
And I'm guessing the Nordic ski team shares my opinion of the warm weather. Talking to a lot of people today, and people are like, God, it's gorgeous out. I said, no.
No, they don't like the warm weather.
It's 40 degrees. It shouldn't be 40 degrees for another month and a half.
Yep.
I love the sun that we saw today.
I as well.
But, about 15 degrees cooler, mid-20s. That's all the higher it should be in January. My personal opinion as a Minnesotan and someone who enjoys winter.
And a
winter
global warming
sports.
expert, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Nordic ski team last week in the ABC Pursuit, and this was supposed to be a 2-day event, but they packed them together because of those snow conditions and the weird weather we're having. So they had both races on one day. And Coach Denny Green, in his weekly email to me, said, it's probably a good thing because it really gets them ready for the competition at section. The Cardinals boys, first place in the ABC. That's Anoka Blaine, or Andover Blaine, Coon Rapids. Anoka Blaine, Coon Rapids. I was right.
Yep.
The first time. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Just turn the
Fill in the
sound down.
blanks.
You can see it on your screen. Ryan Haida finished 2nd place at 20 minutes 4 seconds. Ryan Nelson 3rd place, just 6 seconds behind him. Dan Matthews was in 4th place. Keeker was in 7th, and Paul Breitbach in 8th place. So 5 finishers in the top 8 places. Good job by the boys.
Yep.
Girls also finished well. They finished 2nd, nearly catching up with Anoka, who took 1st, but not quite. Caitlin Benson was 2nd. Ellen Becker was 3rd. Abby Ellenbecker 7th. Then Zabaski in 14th. And somehow Paul Breitbach factored into the girls as well and finished in 14th.
Well, they needed an extra skier apparently.
That one I don't think was my misprint. Where are we? Emily Ford was in 16th place, not Paul Breitbach. Emily Ford. Nordic ski team.
Yeah, we don't want to leave Emily out. Make sure she
Northwest Suburban Conference Championships on Wednesday, and then they have a week off. Section tournament or championships are next Thursday. Both of those events are at Theodore Worth down in Minneapolis. Alpine ski team has its final conference race this week. Last week in race 4, boys finished in 10th place. Jake Luer was the top finisher in 45th. Josh Whelan was in 57th place. Talked to his parents over the weekend. They were there as I was typing up the stats.
Very nice.
The younger brother was on our team. Aaron Caroon finished 66th. Marcellin in 76th. Sides in 79th. And there he is in 80th place, Nico Tweedy.
I like it.
And Heil finished in 81st. So 79th, 80th, 81st. The girls finished in 8th place. Maddie Bolin, though, a 3rd place finish. That's pretty impressive.
That's very impressive.
You figure there are 10 teams. A couple of the teams, the 2 teams that finished below the Cardinals only have 1 racer each. That's Latino Grace and I think Irondale, but don't quote me on that. But the other teams have 7, 10, 12 girls. So there's a lot. I think there's like 60-some girls overall. And Maddie Bolin finishes 3rd overall. She's got a good chance at making a run at state. 56.15 her combined time. Emma Pearson was in 23rd, and Emma Bolin was in 29th. They have race 5 on Tuesday and then sections next Tuesday. So best of luck to them moving forward.
Want to take a little break? Want to take
I
take
will.
A breath?
I'll let you
Appreciate that.
talk
Thanks.
for a while.
Well, the boys basketball team was optimistic heading into last Tuesday's road trip to Park Center. The Pirates are typically a power in the conference, but they're struggling this year. They were just 4-11 coming into the game and were giving up more than 70 points per game. They were definitely beatable, but the Cardinals would need to be on top of their game to pull it off. A fast start would be essential if they wanted to steal one from the Pirates, and they get it. Peyton Foy with a steal and a bucket. He had a great game, leading the Cardinals with 31 points. Then off another turnover, the Cardinals find Sam Carver alone at the corner. He hits the three, and Coon Rapids leads 8-0. The Park Center comes back courtesy of the long ball. Lapse in defense, Amani Hooker with an open look from long range. He hits, but the Cardinals still lead by 7. But that was the spark the Pirates needed to get going. Hooker drives, then kicks it out to Avery Matthews. He hits another three, and Park Center takes the lead 19-17. Once the wind was in their sails, the Pirates really take off. Great movement in transition, and it's Tyshawn Brooks finishing at the basket. Park Center is up 47-32 at the half. Cardinals are down, but definitely not out, and they battle back in the second. Carver working hard for the bucket on the baseline. He gets a foul. Carver had a double-double, 19 points, 13 boards. Park Center just trying to maintain the big lead. Good look to Hooker on the baseline. Scores reverse layup, and the lead is still 15. Hooker was just all over the floor for the Pirates. Watch this play. He sets up Isaiah Simon for the three-pointer. It's off the mark, but Hooker flies in for the rebound, puts it back up and in. Number 24 finished with 24. You see there, nice bucket. Cardinals did come back a bit more respectable. They can't quite catch up. The Pirates able to weather the storm, hold on for the 93-83 win. I texted with Coach O after that.
See? Always working.
We're always working. And he said that Park Center was just really shooting the lights out of the basketball.
Yeah, we saw a number of the three-pointers right there.
and they put up 83 points, put up a nice effort for the Cardinals.
I looked at it. I don't remember if that's – I think they had one other game where they scored more than 83.
Yeah, but your opponent, who's down, as we talked about in that piece, and shoots a high percentage, and it just wasn't their night, unfortunately. Any other night they shoot that percentage, they have an opportunity to win, but they couldn't get it done, unfortunately, against Park Center.
Yeah, and an even tougher challenge for them on Thursday when they played Elk River. They lose to the Elks 78-52. Sam Carver, another nice night underneath, scores 17 points, grabs 8 boards. Peyton Foy, 12 points and 4 assists. Timmy Wynn had 8 and 4. And Tyrion Johnson had 7 points and 5 rebounds. Cardinals fall to 2-15, 1-10 in the conference. They are at Armstrong on Tuesday, and then they host Irondale on Friday. Armstrong beatable.
Yeah.
Irondale very beatable.
Oh, yeah. Armstrong's got a tough team. It's going to be a tough game for them. They've been flirting with top 10 in the state here, a couple of times. So it's going to be a tough game, but it's on the road. But definitely Irondale, a beatable game.
You meant Armstrong.
Armstrong.
Flirting with 10.
Yeah.
You said Irondale.
I meant Armstrong. Thank you. You knew what I meant.
Yeah. Irondale.
Don't listen to what I say. Just listen to what I mean.
Cardinals, got that one conference victory over in Anoka earlier this year. It was their first conference win in more than 2 years. They're looking for number 2.
Absolutely.
Number 2, and I'd have to dig back into the record books to find out when the last time was they won 2 in conference. Girls basketball team in the midst of one of the toughest stretches of the season, and it continued last week with games against 2 of the best in the Northwest Suburban. On Tuesday, the Park Center Pirates came to town with an 11-3 record, undefeated in the West Division, and looking to keep their roll going. The Cardinals knew it would take patience and consistency to keep pace with the Pirates, and at the start, they were doing just that. Park Center wanted to make a statement early in this game, and they have players that can get it done from all parts of the floor. McKenna Dubois left alone at top of the key, buries the 3. Pirates establish their lead, but the Cardinals don't panic, and they have the answer. Megan Morehouse hits the 3-pointer. Keeps Coon Rapids in striking distance. Pirates firing on all their guns in this one. Danielle Schaub with an open look hits the long bomb. Still, they're not able to start running away. Cardinals just keep coming back. Cheyenne Siner with a score in the lane, and Coon Rapids actually leads 13-11 midway through the first quarter. But things changed after that. Park Center pumps up the pressure on defense, and that leads to offense. Great pass to find Schaub at the back door for 2 of her 12. Pirates just dominate the last 9 minutes of the first, putting together a 27-3 run that would essentially put the game out of reach for the Cardinals. They do a lot of their damage in transition with great passing, leading to their 6-footer underneath. Michaela Hayes led all scorers in the game with 16. Park Center up 38-16 at the break. Cardinals just trying to make it a bit more respectable in the second. And for stretches, they did. Carly Anderson converting off the glass down low. But the Pirates were pretty much on cruise control. They get contributions from all over the floor. 9 players scored, 4 of them in double digits as the Pirates coast to the 73-36 win. And it was a tough one because when the Cardinals played patient, when they slowed themselves, just relaxed, and played ball, they were right with them. And really, they fell behind a little bit, and then they started to press, and then the wheels just completely came off.
Well, and as you mentioned, the Pirates really hurt them with that transition game, and they did a nice job of running the floor. Michaela Hayes, she's a nice-looking player.
Absolutely.
Just a sophomore, listed on the roster at 6'1". She'll probably grow a little bit more, and she definitely is a force underneath. And, and the Cardinals, as you mentioned, growing pains this year, and they've got a lot of young players on the roster as well.
Absolutely, and you talk about a sophomore big post player underneath. Kayla Porter had a nice game, 14 points, but most of that came in the first half, and most of it in the first part of the first half when the Cardinals were keeping pace. A 27-3 run to end, and then 2 big runs at different times in the second half. And it just, once it started, as we talked about it, and talking to Coach Peterson at halftime, she said, they started pressing, they started panicking, and then that led to turnovers, and then they weren't getting back on defense after those turnovers. And as you mentioned, Park Center very good in transition, and as soon as they got those turnovers, they were up floor with numbers and they were scoring.
Without a doubt. And, and again, it's just been a learning year for this girls basketball program because it's a new system, young players, and they're trying to get it together as the season progresses.
Well, and again, they played 2 really good teams last week and then 2 really good teams this week. Face Elk River on Thursday. They lose this one 79-40. Marina Nyberg scores 11 to lead the team. Kaylee Porrish added 10. And then you see the points just kind of drop off after that. Mackenzie Wilkins had 4. Different players had 3 points in the game, but Cardinals not really even close. They host Armstrong on Tuesday, and then they host St. Francis on Thursday before traveling to Irondale on Friday. And that's 3 teams where the Cardinals, St. Francis is going to be a good non-conference but section opponent, and give the Cardinals an idea of what they may face come postseason.
It's consistency, and we talked about. We saw they played well at the beginning of that game against Park Center. If they can put a full game together like that, they've got opportunities. Yeah,
and it's just a matter, as you talked about, a young team, and just settling some nerves, and playing within themselves. Preaching patience to high school kids can sometimes it takes a great deal of patience, and I admire all of those coaches out there who do it each and every week, and we appreciate how much help they give us while we're working. Doing our texting back and forth.
We appreciate that.
That means that they're also doing some work and texting back and forth with us and helping us make sure that we can have the most complete coverage of Cardinal athletics here.
That's all we can ask for.
But that's going to do it for this edition. We got some good stuff coming up. Girls hockey coming up on Tuesday at Champlin Park, live at 7:30.
Although it's at Coon Rapids. It's at Coon Rapids.
That's not what the hub says.
No, the hub, actually, because I texted with Coach Thompson today at first, and I said it says on Champlin's page, it says they're playing at Coon Rapids. On Coon Rapids' place, it says it's playing at Champlin.
So we're at
Coon Rapids.
Well, good. I don't have to travel as far.
Nope.
That's live at 7:30 either way. Wrestling live, or no, it's not going to be live because we got the small truck. At Anoka on Friday. We hope to have that up for you by midnight. That'll be a good one. Come out to Anoka. That is always a great match. Northwest Suburban Conference title on the line. Then we'll see boys hockey. Apparently Champlin Park at Anoka. Apparently we're doing that next Tuesday. I don't know why we do that. That's good. Another one that's probably not quite an award winner for the Sportsnight team.
They're already tossing it as we speak.
I want to thank you all for joining us. Continuing to support everything we do here at CTM for the entire crew, including Howard Shapiro. I'm Joe Young saying good night.